You bet. Thank you, Dale.
All right, here I am with my buddy, new friend Greg, and I'm going to be showing him how to set up some stop losses and how to use some back testing strategies on ThinkorSwim. You ready for it, Greg?
Fabulous. Got my notepad ready. Got my
I'm going to
ThinkorSwim
share
ready.
I'm going to share my screen here, and I know that you have some interest in this SPX, 0 days to expiration. So if I could kind of kill two birds with one stone, I'm also kind of back testing a strategy here for doing iron flies. So let me bring up my iron fly statistics here, and I'm gonna show you. So right now, if you look at your ThinkorSwim platform and you click on trade, and
Yes.
then you click over here where it says on demand.
Yes.
Now, and then it'll pop up a little screen like a paper trader. It kind of gives you some kind of a disclaimer. Click on OK. And now you can kind of tell over here where it kind of colors says these are simulated values, which shows you're not making real trades. Now, the downside of it is it runs pretty slow when you do this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate a strategy that I'm testing out called an iron fly strategy. And the idea is that in the Eastern time at Wall Street, all the professional traders, they take lunch, in between kind of 11:30 and 1 o'clock. So what I'm testing is a strategy, putting it on at 11:30 my time, which they're at lunch. And the idea is that when they're at lunch, the market kind of calms down a little bit. And for this strategy, which is a neutral strategy, it's best to have a calm market. So here is what an iron fly is. So I'm going to put it in SPX in here. And this is a 0 days to expiration. So what I'm going to try out is I'm going to do it as if I'm trading it on June 1st of this year.
Okay.
And I'm going to put in June 1st, and then I'm going to put in a time frame here of 11:30 p.m. Central Time, which is 12:30 Eastern Time, which should be, when those guys are at lunch. So I'm going to click on go here, and then it needs time to catch up. So you can see up here in the upper left where it says pre-buffering. That means that it's, and so while it's pre-buffering, I just click over here on chart and I expand it. And when this finishes pre-buffering, it'll show you what SPX was trading at. Now it says SPXX. So SPX on June 1st at 11:30. So right now it's pre-buffering. When it finishes, you'll see what it's trading at. So we'll wait for it to catch up. In still small talk here, as you can see. So you can imagine doing a bunch of these. What I do is I multitask. I'll set some of this stuff up, and then I'll start reading something. And then
exactly what I'm going to try as well.
And then I look up, and then when it's done or when it's ready, then I'll do the next thing. It just runs so slow. If you're sitting here watching it, it's like watching paint dry. So, it's just going to take a while. Yeah. So, and plus, so it's caught up now. So this is the exact, still waiting for data, and I'm not quite sure why.
Mine found it. I did mine at the time after you did yours, and mine found it. But anyways, I see the problem, and I also want to talk about, the 3 times speed or 1 time speed. And I wanted to ask you about that because I'm thinking that 1 time may be the only way to do it to ensure if you have a stop set, you want to make sure that it either, whether if you put it 3 times, it might skip past that stop. That's my thought.
I'm going to go ahead and pause this guy. For some reason, the chart's not running, but I see it's trading at 30.53 on June 1st. Is that what you see?
Yeah, mine's at, I got June 1st at 12:31 Eastern. Now it's actually 12:31:45. And it's at, yeah, 3:05:3:90.
Okay. So what I do is I'll round it to the nearest $5. So in this case, it'll be 30.55 is what I'll round to. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create an iron fly at 30.55. And what an iron fly is where you're selling at the money, both the put and the call. And what I do is I buy the wings 50 points wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell this guy and I'm going to count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I'm going to buy that guy at 3,005 and I'm going to go to the 30.50 and I'm going to sell this guy. I'm going to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I'm going to buy this guy and I'm going to do one contract.
Now, wait a minute. Before you did that, Dale, did you
right.
click, did you have the control key down or did you?
I did.
Okay.
I hold the control key down to select all 4 legs.
I see.
And
let me start over. 3:05:5, you do a sell.
I did a 30.50 call sell, a 30.55 put sell.
Okay.
And a 3,100 call buy, and a 30.05 put buy.
Good grief, you're getting into this. Wow. Okay.
And so then I'm just going to go ahead and hit confirm and send this guy, and it'll fire off. So then what I do is when I am testing something, let's let me show you my strategy here. So I'm going to stop this share. And I'm going to share another screen with you, which is my Tammy is kind of the queen of Excel. I'm not nearly as good as she is, but she's good at helping me kind of set this guy up for back testing. So here's June 1st. And, so I'll go in and I sold it at 30.50. So I'll put the 30.50 in here. And then I put, I collected $16.32. So the collection was $1,632. That's just 1632 multiplied by 100. And it also automatically tells me what if my profit target is 12% and my stop loss is 30%. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a stop share here. And then I'm going to share this main screen again here, and I'm going to show you how to set up the stop losses. So we just set an execution here at $16.32. So you might either want to watch me, and since I'm recording it, you could watch this video again if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Recreate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that and click on create opposite order. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my calculator out, and I'm going to take $16.32, and I'm going to subtract $1.95, and so that's $14.37. And that's my profit target. So I'm going to change this price here to $14.37, and then I'm going to click confirm and send. And so that's what that does is it creates a sell order if it goes down to $14.37, and then I'd buy it back. So now I'm going to set my stop loss. So I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to click create opposite order. And then I'm going to take the $16.32 and I'm going to add the 30%. So I'm going to add $4.90 basically, and it's $21.22. So I'm going to put a stop limit. I'm going to create up here. I'll round to the nearest 5 cents, $21.25. And at this bottom number, I'm going to put a trigger 30 cents away from that. So I'm going to subtract 30 cents. And so the trigger will be at $20.95. So what the trigger is nobody can really see that. It's not on anybody's Bloomberg terminal until it gets to $20.95, and then my order will show up on their screen. That way, it kind of avoids any potential for manipulation.
Absolutely love it. Yeah.
There's people all the time that are kind of like, I think they saw me coming, and so this is at least to set up a trigger to keep that. So I'm going to hit confirm and send now. And now we can view those 2 orders. So I can go up here and just view those 2 orders. So there's my 2 working orders, and I paused it, so it's still 11:30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank this guy up to about 12:15. And let's see what the numbers look like. Let's see if it's going to work this day. So I'll hit play. And usually the earliest these things fire off and it works is in about an hour. Most of the time it takes maybe an hour and a half, or if you can see it start get larger than $16.32, you can we'll take a look at the price and see what's happening on prices to see why it's not working.
Have you ever put them on a chart, Dale, the actual stop and profit target to see it?
A chart?
Yeah, they showed me how to do that, and I was like, "That's cool."
No, I haven't.
I'll have to look at that with you sometime. It's kind of cool way to see your. You take the option code and you post it down below on a lower chart, and you can actually see when and if it's getting near it.
That's awesome. I'd love to see
either the stop or the profit target, either way. So.
Yep, I would love to. I had a little close call with my computer this morning. I think I shut it down before something was running in the background, and it was trying to boot up in safe mode. And I was just, and it's time for the market to open, and I'm getting nervous thinking I'm gonna have to trade with my laptop, and all of a sudden I got it to work. So disaster averted. So you can kind of see up here where it says mark, and it's already trading at $14.80. So it's getting close. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward it by 3 times. So it just kind of like, it's kind of like a Charlie Chaplin movie. So it just kind of, and then we'll wait till one of these fires off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the time that it fired off, and then I'm going to capture the profit for that one. And so far, I'm running about 75% probability of profit on this trade.
Yeah. Wow. Great.
Yeah. And so one of the things Tammy always loves to do, she says, I don't trade anything unless I back tested it. So I won't say that I'm that disciplined, but, and so I'm kind of doing this for the team. We've done a bit of a divide and conquer, and what a great way to set up a kind of a consortium. And that's kind of what I view in the future for trade diff, where people can be dividing and conquering these strategies and all kind of working together, and then sharing our results with each other.
Yes. Love it.
So this happens to be one of the ones I've taken on. And then next I'm going to have to take like the Pong signals and see kind of what they look like when these trades work or they don't work, to see if there's some signals that help me to improve my win rate even further.
Fabulous.
So you can kind of see this guy. It's kind of now it's almost $1 away, so it's going kind of the other way. So let's see what, just out of curiosity, it's trading at 30.58. We put it on at 30.50. So it's kind of moving up, and so that outside of a range, so it's got to kind of catch up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, it's here, it's still so I'm going to fast forward this guy to past 12:30 and see what it looks like. And I know you asked me the question, will it blow past it? And the answer is sometimes. But if it does, I just rewind it a little bit.
Yes.
You can kind of see that it blew past it or something. And I'll rewind it some until I see.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Why fret over it when you can just go back quickly?
And it's kind of like, how accurate do you want to be? If you just kind of, for me, the most important thing on this is the win rate. And once I know the win rate, then is it possible to improve the win rate based upon some other signals? And I used to teach problem solving and decision making. And one of the things they look at is like failure mode analysis, like where were the failures and where were the failures not, but they could have been.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like just intense logic as you try to figure out what the root cause is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that, I think it's no different than trading, is you're trying to kind of, whether it's in manufacturing. Now, look, this is kind of going up now. Now it's at 1625. It's going the wrong way. So let's see. But in manufacturing, whether it's statistical process control, Edward Deming came along and kind of helped Americans revolutionize their manufacturing process by adding math and starting to measure results and accept, defects per thousand, et cetera, and
that's right,
et cetera, to try to kind of perfect it and improve quality. He's kind of the god in Japan because he helped them kind of revolutionize quality because used to made in Japan, it meant junk. So now it's getting closer. Let's see what it's 1475. So it's trading at 30.59. 30.59, and we sold at 30.50. So we're getting closer here. So let's just, all right, sit here. And so what I'll do is I'll just be doing something else, and I set my volume so I can hear when something goes ding, it's like a normal trade fires off, and then I'll stop. I'll record the time because it shows up in my filled orders once it's filled. And I'll record the time, and I'll just erase the loss figure, which then it just uses the win figure. So it fired off there. So then I go under filled orders, and I'll scroll down, and it says it filled at 1:01. So I'll put the time in there, 1:01 p.m.
You're taking advantage of these guys' lunch. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what I'll do is I'll stop the share, and I'll share another screen here and just kind of show you what I fill in here. So I go back to my Excel spreadsheet and see, I got both the win and the loss. So what I'll do is I'll erase the loss, and then it brings this figure over here to the win, so I can see what my P&L looks like. So I'm going to do this from year to date for starting at 11:30. And then what I'm going to go back and do it at 11. And over here, then I'm going to bring Pong and paste the Pong signals for what Pong looked like at that particular time. I'll start with the failures. Like, is there any consistency around the Pong signals for those that failed? And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 failures out of 67. So 9 divided by 67 is basically 13% failure rate. So that would be, 87% success rate.
And how's your percent loss versus
well, the percent loss is 30%. So when I lose 30%. When I win, I gain 12%. So, we could run some math to do some projections on that pretty easily.
Fabulous. Yeah.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And what questions do you have?
Well, you covered the running it faster than, that was a big concern of mine. So that nails that. You've by just describing your 30%, I can see that this is a great strategy. I like it. Yeah.
And if you wanted to, you could test other things. You could test a 50% strategy. You could. Granted, it's laborious and time consuming, but at least it gives you a way. Plus, once you do a bunch of these, you're good at it. Malcolm Gladwell said it takes about 10,000 hours of deep and deliberate practice to become world class at anything. But by the time you go through this a bunch, you got some body memory going on. and
Fabulous.
it's easier for you. So you could try this on nearly any kind of strategy that you want to kind of tweak out. But I'd encourage you to kind of keep track of how you're doing, because if you find something that's real effective, we'd all want to hear about it.
Did Tammy guesstimate that she thought this was better than her current zero DTs that she's working on?
No,
Okay.
she is still doing the zero DTEs.
Yeah.
For me, I am adding several strategies that I can do throughout the day. Primarily in the morning, I'm setting up the zero DTEs. Mm-hmm. In between 8:30 and 9:30 or 10. Okay, so those are set primarily. Set and set it, forget it. So then at about 10:30, I start thinking, is it a good candidate for iron flies? And if so, I'll put on an iron fly. Then when the traders, Wall Street guys, get back from lunch, then it gets crazy again. And then I'll consider trading directionally based upon some signals.
What's your VIX when you're looking at the iron fly? Is there any standard that you're zeroing in on, or
not especially? I'll bring this over and I'll show you, because what we did here is we've got this VIX level, and as you can see here, it starts in January. Oh my God, COVID! So it's like whoop, 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 whoop. The VIX level shoots off the roof from.
I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it? Okay. Shared screen. All right.
I see you.
All right. So, it starts off January at 14.96.
Okay.
We're trickling along here. Nobody's really talking about COVID, and then all of a sudden, boom, in February, see how it goes to 43 and then 47. And oh my God, we're all going to die in March. 51, 62, 76, beer, blood in the streets.
Right.
And so all that premium, you can see how it gets higher. So it shoots up.
But it doesn't look like your win rate changed at all. It looks like about the same situation.
I think the win rate, I think sometimes it takes you longer to get there because, now your stop loss, 30% of that is like a big stop loss. So, it may last longer. So here's one that almost went to 3 in the afternoon, almost went till the market closed.
Right.
Here's another one that almost went to the market close. So it seems to be that when VIX is really high, it may take you longer to squeeze that lemon.
Yep.
Because even if it goes against you, 30% from a big number is a pretty big stop loss.
Now you must have gotten to where you're at market close, and then what do you do?
If market closes, then I'll just at 259, I'll capture what it's trading at, and then I calculate the difference between 33, 30, almost like since SPX cash executes, I'll artificially simulate a cash execution.
Okay.
That will be if it's a loser, it'll be less than the 30%. Otherwise, it would have stopped out.
That's right.
If it's a winner, but it hasn't gotten to the 12, then I'll just record that number. And it's easy to calculate that because let's say it's at 23.35, or I'm sorry, 23.85 on the call side. That's 5 times 100. That's lost $500.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. If it's 23, if it's the 23.80 put and it goes to 23.75 on the put side, then that would be a $500 loss. So you just kind of manually would calculate it if it got to 3 o'clock. But I haven't got there. It's got close. Look at this. It got down to 2:43, 17 minutes away.
Hey, Dale, is it hard to show me a a graphical picture of the trade that, you know, you can see either, I guess, on Toss or Tasty.
A
But
graphical, you know, I don't know a graphical of the
you
trade.
know, the Analyze tab, the
The Analyze tab, yeah. Any particular underlying, or do you want to see it from one of my? Do you want me to? How about this? How about if you give me one of the trades or something like what you've set up on TradeDiff, I'll put it on here and we'll take a look at it.
No, I meant on your Iron Fly. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, on your Iron Fly. Yeah. Let me set. It's trading at 30.55. So so let me do this. Let me go down here to field orders, and I'll go down to the bottom.
You'll have to show me your screen
so
I can see.
All right, I'll share the screen. I'll go down here to this actual trade, and I'll create a duplicate order. And then I'm going to right click on that and click on Analyze Trade.
Analyze. Okay, there we go.
And then I'll have to take all these guys. Sometimes you have to kind of reposition the screen, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to take it off of this on demand.
Yeah.
So it'll speed the heck up. Right.
That's because all we're looking at is what's it look like.
Yeah.
You know,
at
one point.
Are you interested specifically in the analyze of the Iron Fly?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. So here, like if I was putting one on, today has already expired, but I'll do it 2 days from now, so you kind of get an idea. So 34.25. So I'll set one up expiring 2 days from now.
Okay.
The premium is going to be a lot higher, but you can kind of get an idea of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, buy. And then we'll do just one contract and see what it looks like.
And do you know how to mute me real quick? My wife just got home. I'm going to say hi to her for a second.
All right, can I unmute you now?
There we go. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, so this is kind of the Iron Fly, and I don't put these on for long periods of time. Frankly, they can be dangerous, especially in a day like today, right? Where it's kind of really, I'm going to reset this, take this one off. That's weird. Oh, so this date is always got to be today's date. This has got to be the date of expiration. So in this case, it's October 21st.
I see.
So I don't know why this is looking wonky.
And you put it on as an iron condor, and just that's okay. You just change the stripes.
Iron condor technically is where it's like a strangle with wings. An iron condor is like a straddle with wings. So it's hard for me to put, you delete these, uncheck that. There
you go. Yeah.
Now I need to find my, there's one. So I'm going to put this, you see these dashes are break even. So I'm going to put one on the break even point there and this one on a break even point there and drag it out. So anyway, so that's how you can tell kind of probability of profit.
Right.
I don't know how accurate those are. I don't tend to trade iron flies except for this specific trade where I'm doing it for this hour of the lunch hour of Wall Street. I do trade iron condors and I do trade strangles. But when I set them up, I like to have a lot higher probability of profit. And this is showing a 36%. Now, if a guy could set one of these on and ping the closing price, it's like the trifecta.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a bunch of contracts on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I mean, this is $34,000 on a 10 contract, the
but
trifecta.
you're already showing a positive expectancy. So
well, 36.8% it isn't necessarily a positive. It's definitely not the casino, but let me show you just.
I guess I'm not confident that number's correct there.
Maybe not, but that's kind of why I don't trade iron flies except for this parameter. If you showed me, let me show you kind of just like a strangle. Here's a strangle. I'm going to set up a strangle at 45, just to kind of give you an idea of the kind of trades, the kind of things I like to put on. Let's do it in November, just so I don't want you to fall in love with this iron fly just because that happens to be what I showed you.
Right.
This happens to be one of my favorites. So let's do this. Let's set up a strangle at a 20 delta strangle. So, and let's do it on, Apple. Or no, let's do it on, let's see what something that's pretty high volatility.
Tesla.
Tesla, that'd be scary. So I'm just going to go here into October 30th, only 11 days away, and I'm going to show you a 10 delta strangle. So we'll sell this guy, and I'll go down to a 10 delta here, and we'll do a 10 delta, and we'll sell this guy. So one contract, I can collect $640 for 11 days. And I'll show you this, analyze this trade. I have to move this so it's, let's go, I'll reset. All right, let me bring some of these guys in and swing this guy over. And I'll bring this to this break even, and I'll bring this one over here and bring this to this break even. This always has to be today's date, which is the 19th, and this is expiration of October 30th. So I'll bring it on October 30th. So see, it's an 87% probability of profit.
Wow, Mom. I love it.
And the way this works is I'm going to put this cursor right here on today's price at $433.67. So if you can see this number over here,
yes,
that tells you and the purple line is today's date, and this green line is the date of expiration.
Okay.
So if I hold my cursor on the price right now, if you look at that box that I just showed you,
yes,
if I closed it today, I would make $0. But if it's at this price on expiration, I'd make $640.
Mm-hmm.
Now my break even is this hash mark here at 358 or at 551. Tesla is currently trading at 430.83. So as long as it stays between those two numbers in like 11 days, after 11 days, I'll make the maximum of $640.
I'm kind of liking it.
It's one of my favorites, strangles. Now, the danger, you can't have too many of these guys on, because if market crashes, it'll start hitting this put, and then you got to do something. Either you got to have enough money to buy 100 shares or you close it. So you don't want to put a ton of strangles on in an account. You don't want to overdo it.
Okay, what about a stop loss on? What do you do?
Personally, I don't. But if you want to do stop losses, instead of doing a strangle, do an iron condor and set your stop losses before you even put the trade on. Let me show you how to do that. So instead of the 545 call, let's do a 10 wide. I don't know, 20 wide. I mean, what's your stop loss? What would you set a stop loss at?
I'm conservative, so.
So you'd set a 10-point stop loss. Okay, so let's do 10-point wide. So let's buy this one. And we did a 365. So let's go to 365 and go 10 away. We'll buy that one. And we'll change this to one contract. And this to one contract. And we'll click on analyze. Now this is an iron condor. So we'll analyze this trade, make sure it's the only one that's checked that we're analyzing. So now we get a trade that has an 84% probability, 84.82% probability of profit. Your maximum loss is 831 on the downside. Your maximum loss is $580 on the upside. And as long as it closes between these two, you make $169. So you're giving up a considerable, but then if you wanted to, let's up to 2 contracts instead of 1 contract. And now that we're kind of bridging so now we can make 338, maximum loss is 1662, or on either side, the upside or the downside, but we have an 84% probability of profit. So I guess what I would do, instead of setting up a stop loss, if you're concerned about losing, set a wing, buy a wing at what your stop loss is before you even enter.
I see. That helps. Yeah. Nice.
So that's a strangle and that's a straddle. So those are two of my faves. And then, but now you know how to use the Analyze tab. Go into TOS before you set some of these trades up in trade diff and hold that control button, pick your legs, find a graph that you like and put it on, but wait till we cover it. So you don't want to look like a teacher's pet or something.
Right. Very helpful. Very helpful.
Or maybe you do. All right, Greg. Well, that's all we got tonight.
Loved it.
Really
appreciate it.
It's time for a little Netflix and chill.
There we go. Thanks a lot, Dale.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.